I've been thinking about something that comes up a lot when people talk about work. Not ambition, not success, just that quiet sentence people say when they're tired, physically or emotionally. It's just a job, it pays the bills, right? And that line carries a lot more weight than it sounds like it does. Because underneath it is this assumption we almost never question: that if our job isn't fulfilling us, something is wrong. Wrong with the job, wrong with the system, wrong with the choices we made, sometimes wrong with us. And I don't think that assumption is actually helping anyone. Somewhere along the way, we started asking our jobs to do everything: pay the bills, give us purpose, validate our identity, make us feel alive, tell us we matter. That's a lot to put on a paycheck. I don't say that as a defense of bad work or bad systems. Some work environments are genuinely soul-draining. Some systems deserve critique. But even in decent jobs, even in good careers, people still feel this low-grade disappointment humming underneath everything. Like they're supposed to feel more than they do. And I keep wondering if part of the problem is this idea that work and fulfillment are supposed to live in the same place. What if they don't? What if a job is primarily an economic function? Not an identity, not a calling, not a spiritual expression, just a thing that exchanges time and skill for money. That doesn't make it meaningless. It makes it sufficient. And that word matters. Maybe the job doesn't need to be fulfilling. Maybe it just needs to be sufficient. Enough to keep the lights on. Enough to create stability. Enough to support the rest of your life. When we let a job be sufficient instead of sacred, something loosens. Because now we're not constantly asking it to feed parts of us it was never designed to touch. Fulfillment tends to show up somewhere else anyway. And when people talk about fulfillment, honestly, it's rarely abstract. They don't say, "I feel fulfilled by my 5-year plan." They say things like, "When I fix something that was broken. I feel good when my hands are in the soil. When I'm cooking a meal from scratch. When I'm present with someone and not thinking about anything else." Fulfillment has weight to it. Texture. It's embodied. It usually shows up when you're interacting directly with reality. Not optimizing it. Not branding it. Just being in it. And I think that's an important clue. Because fulfillment isn't something you achieve. It's something you experience. Which brings me to the part we often miss. There are really 3 things happening here. There's the job, the thing that pays. There's fulfillment, the thing that feeds you. And then there's you. You're the integrator. You're the one who decides where each of those things lives. The problem isn't that work isn't fulfilling. The problem is we stopped choosing where fulfillment belongs. We handed that responsibility over to our jobs and hoped they'd carry it for us. And when they didn't, we assumed we failed. But when one thing is supposed to fulfill you, it doesn't. A job collapses under that pressure. And so do people. Some things are meant to feed the body. Other things feed the person. When those roles get confused, life feels thin. When they're allowed to be separate, something steadies. You can show up to work without resentment. You can leave work without emptiness. You can stop treating every Monday like a verdict on your life. And you don't need to quit your job to do this. You don't need a dramatic reinvention. You don't need permission. You just need to notice where fulfillment already shows up for you and stop demanding it come from the wrong place. So maybe the real question isn't, why doesn't my job fulfill me? Maybe the question is, what if my job was never supposed to?